welcome back to my channel. This is Michelle for AfroExpats. Again, I've met another amazing woman online. I am so excited to speak to her. I am very much looking forward to meeting you in person one of these days soon. But we start with social media, we start with Zoom. And as I said in all my other series, that we're here to provide insight about life in Mexico from a Black perspective. Everyone's welcome to listen and watch, but it's really to give people of color insight about our journey to Mexico, why we came, why you can come to, why it's not so complicated, and really and truly like the life that you might want to live, you can probably get it here and you can acquire it. And we're here to just share our stories, how we arrived, why, blah, blah, blah. And in saying all of that, I'm going to let Queen D, Michele, introduce herself and tell you where she is in Mexico, all about what she does. We'll kind of go through this a little bit at a time, but I'm just excited to speak to you and hear more about your journey, because yes, you are definitely the bomb online.
Bomb.com. I like that.
Yes. So go ahead and tell us where you're from, where you're living, and start the conversation.
You know what? I almost feel like I'm talking to several girlfriends who I know listening that are on your platform, who may have heard this story over and over. Now I feel I'm kind of like that aunt who's always telling her story when she come over, the same old story.
That's
but
okay.
There may be an ear out there who haven't heard my story, Queen D. Michelle's story. So here it is. I, born and raised in Detroit. I am a retired elementary teacher, 27 years. So I did about 10 of those years in Detroit teaching. But then I moved to Las Vegas and I taught there for 11 years. And after Vegas, I moved to Atlanta. And I taught there for a couple of years and retired there. Pretty much, I was 52 years old. And I was trying, my thought, after leaving Las Vegas, going to Atlanta, that I'll do 5 more years, because I left in 2013. I'll do 5 more years and then I'll retire. So it'll be 30 years at 55 years old. But I tell you, Michelle, and as I've told so many of y'all know y'all heard this, I could not, those last 3 years, I just couldn't do. I was done. It was a wrap, you know, I was cooked. And because they seemed like an eternity. So I retired and took a pinch in that, you know, in my picture because of that. And that was okay for a minute because I was not teaching anymore, something that I didn't want to do. But I soon realized that I'm going to have to continue to work to supplement that pension, you know, because the pension only paid pretty much the rent. So it was all that other stuff. So I started doing really fun stuff after retiring. At first, I was I did Uber. I did all the Uber and the Lyft driver. I did remote work, designing curriculum for a software company. And let's see what else I did secret shopping. I did Postmates. I was a shuttle driver for a transportation company that serviced the railroad, taking engineers and conductors to and from their train. I was having a ball for about a year, you know, just out there in those streets for the first time, you know, semi-retired, you know, because I was supplementing, but I was making my own time, writing my own schedule, doing my own thing. And so that was cool. After that first year though, I thought, wait a minute. I'm gonna always have to do this in order to supplement. There would never be a time when I didn't have to supplement that pension. So that meant that I would always have to work, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't want to be 70 years old saying, welcome to Walmart. You know, I
Right.
didn't want to be a Walmart greeter. You know, I didn't,
Right.
you know, I didn't want to work in retail, or a restaurant or at the airport. You see them in the States, you see them everywhere. I mean, especially those airport shuttle drivers, they are not working
Right, because they want to. That's right.
Yeah, they're working because they have to.
Right,
But here's the thing with that.
Mm-hmm.
After you work until you really can't work anymore, now you're going to live substandardly, see, because you're not working.
Right.
And that's just not fair. You know, it's just that's your whole life. And you got to think to yourself, or at least I did, I don't owe you my life. You meaning the system. I don't owe you my life. You know, I did my share, you know, raised two productive citizens and taught for 20. I don't owe you everything. Right. And here's the kicker, Michelle, here's the kicker. This was the kicker for me. I could have stayed and continued to supplement my pension. But the only thing I would really be doing is working to pay bills. Exactly. See, there would be no extras. I mean, there's no weekend getaways. There's no fine dining. There's no concerts. There's no, it's this Netflix and chill, you know, period. You know, there's nothing else. And what kind of life is that? See, again, the system, the way I look at it and saw it, is that they didn't care about the quality of my life, just the quantity of it and how much they can get out of it. Exactly. Amen. Before they threw me away and I lived substandardly. You know, at the time I'm having all these thoughts, and you know, and just caught up in this matrix, because how do you get out, right? Right. Along came that article in International Living, the 10 top places to retire. Nice. You know, just I don't know if you know, it just showed up. You know, what did you call it, Mother Universe? Right. You know, always on time. You know, as so that fell right in my face, and I started reading and imagining. Oh, is that only, you know, because they tell you, an average person could live, you know, on the. Well, see, I got that in my pension. Right. I can. You know, so I started researching those places. You know what they are: Panama, Costa Rica, Belize, Nicaragua, Ecuador, Thailand. You know. Those places. I even researched Africa. I did, you know, I had that thought, going back to, you know, to the motherland. However, that, yes, that was, it was too far. You know, I just felt it was too far. Oh, I'm going to Africa, no doubt about it. It's going to be my birthday gift to myself in a couple of years. You know, I'm planning that, but, and you know how I'm gonna do that? Off subject real quick. I am ordering an African DNA, African ancestry. Okay. And what's so special about that one, of course, is that unlike ancestry.com, that'll give you a region and a little bit of this, a little bit of that, and that African ancestry.com is the largest database of Black DNA, African Black DNA in the world. And made by Black write that down. Yeah, AfricanAncestry.com in the world. And see what happens with them. They'll tell you your region, but more importantly, they'll tell you your tribe. You know, interesting. You know, the tribe that you're from. So I'm planning this trip in a couple of years, gifted myself, wherever that DNA says that I'm going there. I'll spend a month in Africa, but I'll spend 2 weeks there. You know, because I would want to celebrate my birthday in that area with my tribe at that time, you know, I love that kind of thing. And then I'm gonna go to Egypt for a couple of weeks. So a month in Africa. That was off subject. But once again, now that it just speaks to once you get out. Right. Oh, I can, it will, it expands, I want, and I'm going to. You will. Yes. And I'm going here ASAP. It's like opening a door. It's like stepping through into another dimension of freedom. You know, that's why I call the passport. Everybody should have one, get one, because those are your freedom papers. That's what the passport is.
It really is. It is. And you have nothing holding you back. You know, like even if you don't have a trip plan, just get that passport and just have it.
That's my hope. That's what I'm saying.
You know,
just get it.
Yes.
Just get it to have it. Even if you're not planning anything, get it to have it.
Yes.
So
I love that. I have a question though for you. The AfricanAncestry.com, because this is the first that I'm hearing about it. Is it Black owned? Because I'm curious.
Black scientists. But you know, it's renowned by it was Black scientists who founded it. And yeah, it is. When you go to that website, you'll be blown away. You know, of course, you can do your paternal or your, maternal, but the information that you get back from AfricanAncestry.com, you know, you know your tribe. It was a lot of the Black celebrities have done it, man, and their stories and the tears that you hear, because now, you know, they just don't say you're 25% this and 25% this area over here.
There's more to it. I love that. I'm so gonna do this when I get back to the US.
Yes, gift yourself with that, you know.
Okay, yes.
Gift your family with that. I think the kit is like $300. Telling my kids to go in together and 150 for Mother's Day and get me that kit.
That's right, you need it. No, that's actually good to know. I've thought about, what is it, the 23andMe. I even thought about doing one in Mexico because I figured it would be less expensive here, but I'll save up my ducats for this.
Yeah,
sure. I like that.
That's the rich and dynamic. In when you visit the website, you'll see, because the way it'll resonate with you, the energy that's coming off just the website alone, you know.
Okay, I'm gonna definitely check that out. Thank you.
Nugget.
Yeah, exactly. A good golden nugget. I love it. But
speaks to, once again, stepping out. And as I researched those, it was this area that I'm in. And I know you've spoken with a couple other women from this area, you know, who live in this area. It checked all three boxes for me. Number one, location. You know, my home base is Atlanta. You know, my son is there. My license, you know, has, you know, his address. So my state home base is Atlanta, and that's a 3.5-hour plane ride. You know, that's a nonstop.
Yeah,
that's a nonstop 3.5 hours.
And you fly from Guadalajara, right?
I fly out of Guadalajara, which is the capital of Jalisco.
Right.
You know, Mexico has 32 states, and the state of Jalisco is the state that I live in, and it houses the largest lake in the country, Lake Chapala.
Yes.
You know, now that's the name of the lake. But, you know, I had to clear this up the other day with someone. They get Chapala and Lake Chapala confused.
Okay.
See, Lake Chapala is the name of the lake.
Right.
Chapala is the municipal town, the governmental type, you know, the head, the county seat, if you will.
Right.
In a certain part of this North Shore of Lake Chapala is Chapala, you know, is Chapala's municipal. That kind of thing, you know. So yeah,
right. I didn't know that. I
said that to somebody the other. It's like, oh, okay. And I can see how that can be confusing. You know, you got Chapala, then you got Lake Chapala, and Lake Chapala and Chapala the same. No, Lake Chapala is the lake, and Chapala is the town.
Okay. And I think, you know, what's confusing here too is you'll often run into the state and then the city. So, you know, there's like, I think it's almost in every state where there's the state of Guanajuato and then there's Guanajuato City. There's the state of Mexico and then there's Mexico City. There is Querétaro and then there's Querétaro City. So it seems like they just made life real easy for people.
And if I'm not mistaken, I don't know all 32 states, but I think Mexico is a state.
I think so too.
You know, the word, there's Mexico country, but then there's also Mexico, the state.
Exactly. And that used to confuse me. And because way back in the day when I started traveling to Mexico, the airport and the city was considered Mexico City. And then somewhere along the line, they started calling DFA. And I was like, what is DFA? I don't know what that means. DFA is the abbreviation for Mexico City now, I guess, maybe to simplify things somehow. So yeah, it can be a little confusing, but
of course.
yeah, you know, we learn as we go and make our movements around Mexico. Exactly. Yeah, no, that's a beautiful thing. So finish telling me about your journey.
Well, my choice for here was, of course, location, and then it was climate. And I know you've heard probably in the other interviews how it's eternally spring here. Yes. I'll just add that there's a dry spring and a wet spring, but spring as it relates to climate nonetheless. Okay. You know, spring when it's dry, you know, and then spring when it's rainy season.
Okay. You know? Okay. But so it's not cold. You don't really have like a.
You know what? If we get a nip in the air in November, December, we're like, yay, because that means we're lighting our fireplace, you know, and we're putting on a jacket, you know.
Right. Look. You know,
right.
That's so because we are like way up here in the mountains. So.
Oh, so it's real up there then, huh?
Well, you know, what's weird is I'm looking outside. It's beautiful. It's sunny, but it sometimes still feels kind of cool in my house. And I'm always.
Are your windows open?
Not right now. I have them closed all day because when I'm interviewing, sometimes there's like the gardener or somebody else, our kids making like the banging sounds or cutting things. So in the moment, no, but if I do go outside, I step out, it's nice, it's beautiful. Like you can go swimming and whatever, but sometimes, you know, because our homes are, and yours as well, I'm sure, made of concrete, it holds whatever it is outside, but this will get warm later on in the night. And then in the morning it cools down or whatever. So I'm just warm-blooded. I need to be warm. So I just walk around. I always have like all my chairs have like little jackets or sweaters or something, and I'll just throw one on. I've gotten used to it because I moved from Florida. So I was used to like.
Oh, so that makes, it's a little nippy now for you then coming from Florida.
And I'm kind of used to this now. I really wouldn't change it. I like that it's fresh. It feels fresh, and it's raining here. We have our rainy season, and the rain actually makes it cooler here because we're so high in the mountains. Whereas in like, if we were lower, you know, like in a lower elevation, it would be more of a humid outdoors.
So what is your elevation? Because I know we're 5,000.
We are 6,300 to 6,000, depending on where you are. Where I am, when I first moved here, I checked it, meaning where my house is, it's 6,300. But if I go up that hill, it's probably close to 7,000.
Oh, wow.
It kind of all depends, but it's nice. Yeah, I like it. I mean, it doesn't snow. It's not freezing cold. True. We have the same thing where we don't need AC. We don't need necessarily heat. We have, you know, a fireplace. We turn that on in December, January, if necessary. It warms the house up and you turn everything off again. And I actually like that. I like that change.
So what's your state and city?
I live in San MigueldeAllende, and the state is Guanajuato. So we're and we're right next door to Querétaro, which is a whole different state, which I didn't realize until I moved here.
So San Miguel is the capital?
You know, no, Guanajuato City, I believe, is the capital.
Okay.
San Miguel is just considered a town, like a city in the state of Guanajuato. And Guanajuato's city is only about an hour from here. But Querétaro is also only an hour, but we literally cross state lines to get into Querétaro, which is about an hour. And then, you know, there's like León, which I believe is in the state of Guanajuato as well. So, you know, we have kind of like easy access to places in Querétaro, which is a different state, and then easy access to places within Guanajuato. So we
that's so
kind of like in the center. Yeah, they call this the heart.
In there.
Yeah,
you're not nuzzled in between them.
Yeah, we are. I mean, it's convenient. We aren't like, we don't have our own airport. But I
was getting ready to ask you, where's the airport?
Querétaro International, or you can, if you're flying to the West Coast, then you would go to León. And that's all. So both directions is about an hour, maybe about an hour in both directions.
Okay.
So we do have that. And then every now and then, if it makes sense logistically and cost-wise, I'll fly out of Mexico City, which is about 3.5 to 4 hours south of us. Yeah.
So. I think we're like 3 hours. I don't know what direction up from Mexico City.
Yeah, and I know that you guys are about 4 hours, I think, from here as well. I haven't been there, so it's on my bucket list. Like, I feel like there are a few places. Yeah, I want to check out Lake Chapala. It was on my list of places that I considered moving to.
Really?
Yeah, people were like, Ahihi, you know, Lake Chapala, check it out. Because we all do the same thing. You'd like, most of us will kind of like pick a few spots and then what can I find? What do I want to see? But I had actually been to San Miguel. So a long time ago. And so it was just kind of like, okay, it was natural for me to look that up first.
Yep.
And then there were YouTube videos, not from Black expats, but there were YouTube videos about this area that kind of helped me make my decision. And also like Chapala, I have to be honest, like every place I was curious about, there were videos about them, but this was the one where I found videos with people with families.
Yes.
And that was kind of my thing. I needed that.
Of course.
Yeah.
That was a good move. And I know it's a good fit. I know it's a good fit.
It is.
And I think if people kind of really do their research just a little bit, you'll find that fit for you, you know. And then you may have to kind of move around just a little because you can.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Find what fits.
Exactly. I always say if you can, do temporary living for a little bit until you just know like this is it, because it just can be disheartening if you have to kind of shuffle a little bit. But I don't shove that doctrine down anyone's throat. Like when I'm speaking to my clients, and if they just kind of like, no, this is what I want to do this way, I try to be supportive, but I really
kind of, and that was me. I knew that this was the area. I didn't think about really anything any other state.
Right.
Oh, you know what? I can't. Well, kind of sort of like Playa del Carmen. It sounded nice. It was by a beach when I first started thinking Mexico.
Right. Right.
And then even Merida. But I read about the heat, and that is.
Yeah.
I know coming from Las Vegas, of the dry heat, and Atlanta of the humid heat. Right. How about no heat like that at all? How about, So I kind of knew, and it was the expat community. Here, that was another big choice. It was location, it was climate, and the third box was the expat community. Knowing here that this lakeside, the North Shore of Lake Chapala houses the largest expat community in the country.
That's right.
We are all over, San Miguel and Karencita, Merida. And on the beach we are, but as far as compacted right in a area, it's this North Shore of Lake Chapala. Right. And they're tired American Canadians.
Yes, and I don't think a lot of people know that. I think, especially in the Black community, I think a lot of people think the largest Black expat area is probably Merida right now.
I think so.
But I think just as the largest expat area, they think also it's San Miguel. It's not. Lake Chapala, in that area where you are, is definitely, and I read that a few years ago. What do you know what those numbers look like?
You know what? I don't know what those numbers are. And that's something that I'm actually going to research at this point, if it's even possible, because it's growing exponentially now. I mean, they're coming and staying. Right. They're on reconnaissance trips. I have a friend here right now. I have two friends actually. In this complex that I stay. One is here for a month, planning on returning in November permanently, and then one who's here for 6 months. She's 47. She's Beautiful. Here for 6 months, trying to, and the other one who's coming back, she's 70. just retired at 70, but
Wow. Yeah.
whoa,
Yeah.
um, even
70
still,
and
so
brave.
we're getting the ages, but then I also know a young lady around that same age with a teenage son. He's 14,
Oh,
and
nice.
and she's here with him, and this is not a good fit. She loves it, but it's not a good fit for him.
Right.
So she's actually will be moving next month, and I forget exactly where she said she was going. I think it was Guanajuato. I'm
Oh,
almost
okay.
sure.
Okay.
She's
Guanajuato, I
trying to
think,
find a
is
better fit
good.
for her son.
Yeah,
You
I
know.
think Guanajuato, because even, okay, so for me, I came with Micah at 6. He was 6. He's 9 now. And, so I think San Miguel's easier for children that are like under 13 or 10, like or they are 5 or 4. I think it's great because then they start getting the whole bilingual thing down. They understand the culture, but I do think it's a little harder if you have like a teenager and you were to move here. I mean, it's still not a bad place for family because there's a lot for kids to do. But I do think going to, like, if Micah were in his teens, I would have probably gone to a city because because of the schools. That's a factor. You want to have like a pretty decent school, especially if you think they might want to go to college in the US or somewhere else. You kind of want to not lose the level of education and learning. But yeah, any like school age children, younger, I think San Miguel is a good option. I do think Querétaro, my friend, she just moved there. Her daughter, I think, is 2 or 3, and she was very much looking for a French speaking school. She wants her daughter to learn French because she has Haitian background. She was just like, nope, this is where I'm going to be. They have French school. It's right up the street from my house. And,
See, you can find that fit for your family, or for you, and then what it is that there's options.
Exactly.
Wonderful, the options.
Affordable.
Here, the affordable options, that's here. And that was, and then of course costs. Being able to afford that was number 4, because I came here 3 years ago, living on $1,100 a month.
Wow.
And my rent, and I'm in the place that I was when I first moved here 3 years ago. And the rent was $500. It's a 1 bed, 1 bath condo. And the rent is still $500.
Wow.
So imagine 3 years ago paying $500 out of an $1,100 check. So I lived on $600 a month, but it was possible, and you know that it is because everything else fits with a light bill that's every other month.
Exactly.
$10.
And a water bill.
I don't even get a water bill. I get light, gas, and that's every month, $12. Internet, 20.
Wow.
My cell phone, 15.
Wow.
And I got a wonderful Samsung 8. It's a Mexican phone number, but it does everything. And
you can call the US, you can call Canada, you can call Mexico.
I do everything with it, and it's $15 a month, so and then the food. I mean, when you consider damn near from farm to table, those Wednesday markets and the Monday market, Wednesday market, the organic Tuesday market. I mean, you go, you have, what you pick, and you eat better. There's no fast food. See, that's here along the lake, on this North Shore that surround these, the South and the North Shore are little towns and villages. And neighborhoods, so this is small town living. I live in a small town. I don't have a car. I can practically walk, and I do walk anywhere that I have to go. There's a state-of-the-art hospital less than a block from me. restaurants, pharmacies, where I can buy over the counter, whatever, everything except narcotics. You know, that's the only thing I can't buy over the counter. But prednisone, you know, sometimes I have upper respiratory, you know, issues. And, you know, to be able to buy prednisone, a box, 50 milligrams with 20 tablets in it for $3, you know, across the street at the pharmacy, you know, and then to be able to walk, you know, 2 blocks up, 3 blocks up, and I'm at the Malacan of the, you know, the largest lake in the country, you know, that spans, you know, around where all these little towns and villages, you know, are, and neighborhoods. So it was affordable then, and it's still affordable now. Now, mind you, I've been here 3 years now, and I started with an $1,100 pension. And in those 3 years, it has increased a whopping $100. So now I live on $1,200.
Exactly. No, but it's
the rent is still.
But you're still living well. You're not, like you said, you're not working another or a second or a third.
I'm not pressed. I have peace of mind. I am fully retired doing what I want to do. I actually stepped into a whole nother creative vein moving down here. You know, I became a writer.
I love it. And we're going to talk about everything you do. But I want to ask you, because I remember when you were talking about the healthy and your food and eating and what's close by, I saw something from you. I might have been on your page a couple months back about how you are now out. Maybe it was a conversation you had also with Emery, but that your health has improved because you're able to get out, you're eating better, and you're doing so. That's also, you know, a big thing, especially for our Black community. I think that because we run ourselves into the ground, we often don't take care of ourselves, and we eat things that are inexpensive to us because it's convenient, and we don't have the time to think which mind, body, health, soul,
and they want you fueled. They want you, you know, because I'm thinking the system, because I feel like I've escaped from it, but they want you fueled. So you can continue working, you know, those jobs. Because how is it that a healthy salad is $9 and a double cheeseburger is 99 cents?
Exactly. Or 2 for 99 cents.
So I can't even afford, number one, I can't afford to, in the States, I can't afford to eat healthy. And for people like, take for instance, who have diabetes and insulin, and how they have hiked up the price of insulin, it's to the point where a woman said, I can't afford to live. You know, because she needs this. So you can't afford to eat healthy. You can't afford to live, you know, and as you get older, you know, you begin to get priced out. You know, because your Social Security or your pension doesn't keep up with how they keep raising things. That's where that living substandardly comes in, because how can you as a senior keep up in any way, shape, or form? So you come here, and I turn to yoga and meditation
and hiking and your beautiful doggy.
Now I have Quincy, but here's the thing: I from Detroit to Las Vegas to Atlanta, those are concrete jungles, you know, and so to get out in nature, to have to, you know, to drive to get out into nature, or, you know, because it's, you know, everything is compacted. Here, I walk across the street and a few blocks up, and then I hike up into the mountains, the majestic mountains of Mexico. It's phenomenal. So yeah, I came here over, in my 5'1" frame, over 200 pounds, you know. It started hiking 2 weeks.
I remember you saying that you got really into being outdoors, and I don't remember what you had a before and after. I was like, oh my God, I love this.
Did you see that before and after?
I did.
See, that's transformation. That's transformation right there. That's transformation, and that's what getting you know, or opening up, leaving yourself open to possibilities of not being stressed or not being, or possibly living abroad. Because people say, well, you know, you're not a citizen. I'll always be a United States citizen. I'm just going to reside
somewhere else. Yeah,
you know?
and that's fine. I mean, and I feel too that people that are not on this side of the thinking, because I can't say necessarily living here, but the thinking, because you can start thinking this living in the US, but it's like you're literally unaware of how much you take your life back and how much you gain control of a lot of things. Because I've, you know, even for example, this is a good example, right? When I wanted to escape, because I really was, I got to get out of here. And I'm fortunate enough to be in a position where we were able to do it sooner rather than later. So I'm not going to trivialize this as is so easy and whatever. No, you got to make a plan. You got to make a plan. That's what we're here for, right? You do what I do and I do what you do. We talk and coach and we try to provide you with insight on options and ways. But even with like my husband, he was a little like, kind of like, oh, well, how do you know? Not everybody can do this. And I don't think that way. I think that it is possible for everyone, but I do think you need a plan. I think thinking outside of that structure that we're so used to, which is the corporate life and the corporate living. And as you said, once you resign or you retire or you get older, you get that Social Security check. And even for my mom, like she doesn't make a lot. She worked a lot of years and, you know, her check was just affording her just enough to pay her rent, and her rent's based on what her check is, right? And she got on a long waiting list to get into this, you know, retirement community or whatever. Yeah. And so in saying all of that is that you start to shrivel up into this kind of existence where you think this is the only way to do it. And in the end, I think that we don't always have the capacity to see beyond the thing that has been structured in front of us. Now that I live here, I think that there's a lot of need for our talents from anywhere you are in the world. I think there's a lot of need in the community. I think there's a lot you can bring to the table. And I think you just have to come outside of this thing, you know, this box, and see where can I be of use and service? How can I turn that into even a small online? And this is the time to do it, right? COVID has created even more of a window for us to venture outside of our norms. So, you know, it's just kind of one of those things, like we were saying earlier, it's morphed and it continues to morph. I mean, I keep meeting younger and younger people and I am impressed. I am, you know, like I remember the days when I was traveling in the 90s and I was like, I'm the only Black person around. And, you know, nowadays it's just such a joy for me to see
Stephanie Perry and the Anne Marie.
Girl, yes.
You know, they're out here.
Yes, I love it. And I just think that it's so inspiring and it is just, it is what it is. It gives me goosebumps over and over again. Every time I hear someone.
I never get tired of talking about it and hopefully shining a light on possibility and potential, you know?
Yes. So I thank you for one, sharing, you know, like your costs, because I don't normally ask people like, hey, well, how does it, I like that people can have like something to put it in a frame of reference, you know. That was a hard thing for me. Like I could not fathom years and years ago, you know, like I had the opportunity to move to Mexico way back, you know, and at the time I just couldn't, I was just like, why would we give up these good paying jobs and this nice house and nice car, blah, blah, blah. And, you know, we're going to go there and we're going to be only making X amount of dollars, blah, blah. And I was young in my mind. And, you know, this is what I was thinking. And this was, you know, like a while ago, like 20 something years ago. I was just like, oh, how this and that, not even 20, close to, but I was just like, how do we do this? How do we do that? Blah, blah, blah. And now I understand it. And I remember at the time, it was me only thinking in terms of money. dollar amount, and that's it. And it was like, well, you know, we can live only off of this amount, and we could actually save more than if we were making this much money in the US
Come
and
on now.
paying this much in
Yeah.
rent and paying this much for this and this.
Right.
But my brain at this point, it wasn't really about the math. It was just kind of like I felt that I would be letting go. And if I wanted to step back into that, how hard or difficult would it be to get it back again? So the thought behind
felt
it
like you were
was
losing, you were going to lose.
exactly. And what if, and da, da, da. And now I absolutely am just like, oh, you know, you get here, it's more affordable. You have time to do more, live more, breathe more, you know.
Quality. It's
exactly.
Quality of life. It's quality of
exactly.
not what they sell you in the media on television as it relates. I mean, as it relates to what quality of life is, what they show you.
Exactly.
The quality of life is, you know,
exactly.
those 2 weeks.
Or that 3 if you're lucky, because sometimes they let you pay for an extra week. I used to buy extra weeks on my paycheck. And yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. I can't even imagine. I haven't worked in corporate since 2002. I will just never go back. It'll be corporate if it's my corporate.
I think we all suffer in a way from PTSD, corporate PTSD, you know?
Girl. Yes.
It's possible. And shedding those layers and those beliefs and that weight. Don't you feel light?
I do.
You know, isn't it a lightness?
Yes.
About life, you know, breathing, you know, all of that.
Yeah, it's definitely a weight off. I remember getting on, I mean, you know, I started to kind of formulate my life more when Micah was born. I really was just like, I'm gonna formulate this differently. But there was still a lot of the, you know, financial pressures that you have in the US because things happen, right? And it's just expensive. It's expensive, just like you said. And when you get 1 foot ahead, it's like, something comes up, something problem, whatever, a car breaks down, it just wipes you out. Like you're just, you know, I mean, of course, some can save. I was lucky enough to be in that position, but
I wasn't one of those.
I just was like, if this continues on for 10 more years, you know, you just keep dwindling. It was too much. Every time we turned around, and this was, you know, even when I got with my husband, it was just constant.
Life kept happening. Yeah.
Yeah, you know, between his stuff and mine, and his house is there, and I can't even. It was a lot. It was just a lot. So when I packed up, I remember truck came, picked our stuff up, and I saw them driving off, and I was just like, on our way. This is like really happening. And I remember Micah and we got to the airport, and I didn't share it with a lot of people because I don't need the naysaying, and nor do I care.
Right. You moved in silence.
Yeah, I'm mostly in silence. And I just remember taking a photo of my son pulling his suitcase up the runway, the ramp to the plane. And I was like, we out. We out. I was so happy. Like, I was just so happy, but I had some fears about little things, but I was just happy. I was just like, naysayer, none, just, I was out. I was just out. I was like, we're actually doing this.
It felt like escape, didn't it?
It did.
And that's how here everyone on this show, you know, everyone's so friendly and so nice. You hear that. And, you know, we're walking down the street and, you know, it's bon dia and we're smiling and, you know, it's good morning. And sometimes I swear we look at each other and there's this look between us that, you know, like we know this secret, you know, like
it's so pleasant. Yeah, even sometimes I go, yes, girl, we out. That's what I'm going to have a segment one of these days. It's called We Out. That's what I should call this. Lifestyle series, We Out.
No, but how wonderful that we've turned around and extended our hands out and said, here, look at this. Here, come on, think about it. Consider it.
Yeah.
Consider
it. Plan it. Like, even if you're in your 30s and you say, you know what, I don't want to do this forever. Plan it, like do your relocation travel trip, checking it out, whatever. Don't just go vacation, party, drink, and come
Right.
back home broke. Go
There you
find your
go.
place, you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
And do you.
Yes.
Bring your kid. You cannot buy this experience for your child. You have to put them in this position. I am just so grateful, like really, even for us to bring our grandkids. We did that 2 years ago. We brought two of the
Okay.
grandkids for a month, a whole month in Mexico. They got their passports and my husband brought them down. And it was just a joy to see them experience Mexico. And I remember saying this to him when we first started talking about it. I said, we are creating a legacy. And the
Yes.
legacy is nothing to do with wealth and finances, nothing wrong with that either. It
Right.
has to do with growing their minds so they can become more adaptable in the future to other things. And I said, for me, that's worth everything in the world.
Yes.
I just wanted my son to have another language under his belt.
How about that? Yes.
Culture, you know, just if you can, like I said, if you can, or you can plan it, like, yeah, just like I said, we out. People
like
ask
that.
me,
I
are you
like
going to come back to the
like
US? And I'm like, I'm not planning to. I mean, things happen in life, but as of right now, I don't have those plans at all. I'm just
no. I literally tell people I will live and die here.
yeah.
You know, and don't even worry about trying to get me back to the States. For what? I tell you what you do. You go ahead and cremate me and you scatter my ashes in those mountains that I love to hike.
That's right. That's right. I hear you.
And I'm good. I will live and die here.
Yes.
You know,
Good for you.
and I know I will. I'm out.
That's right. I love it. I love it.
Oh my God. We out. Yeah, you got you something there, girl. You got you something there.
It's so funny. So finish telling me, like, how did you choose Lake Chapala? Did you kind of just do your research online and say, this is my
Everything
space?
is online, Michelle. What's unique about my situation is that there was no recon. Everything I did online. And to filling out the visa, application, and printing that out and taking that down, and they had the Google Translate right next to me, as I'm doing, because I did that by myself. I didn't hire a lawyer to,
good for you.
To take me through that process. I did that by myself, but I took copious notes and research, and I don't know, that's probably the teacher in me, just keeping files, being organized. Come on, I was an elementary school teacher, right? So I got files and it's color coded and all of that. By the time I got here, everything just kind of unfolded perfectly for me. Everything done online. This place that I'm in right now, she walked me through it. She did a video walkthrough.
Oh, who was she?
One of those that my landlord.
Okay.
That Mexican landlord that I said I'll take it.
How did you find her? Online?
On Facebook. On Facebook.
The marketplace.
Lake Chapala Rentals.
Okay.
That she advertised on Lake Chapala Rental it sounded perfect for me. But I had not only Lake Chapala, I was on Facebook sites, but then I was also doing property, realtor companies. Access Lake Chapala was a big one. I stayed on there, and they are so good at showing you the neighborhoods. They have these tabs going across, and then and it has neighborhoods and areas and store. I mean, the way they lay it out, they really give you a good idea of the area. And I was one of those that I did the, what do you call that? The Google Street View. So I was going up and down.
That's right. I did that too.
Take myself to Walmart and then back, where I had a list of restaurants that I wanted to see. I knew the first meal I wanted because I looked at the menu at Aldelita's. That's a few blocks. So when I got here that day and met Anna, shook hands, she handed me my keys and said, "Good luck,
Awesome.
Welcome to Mexico." That evening, I said, "I know I'm walking to Aldelita's, and I know how to get there."
You were ready.
I mean, to that point, I was here, and it was that kind of research. So 4 months in, you talk about videos, watching videos. I religiously watch Jerry Brown, you know, and his lovely life, Laura, you know, and I see him. I'm in a cell phone place, and I see him walking by, him and his wife. I run out and I say, "Hey, I know you," you know, and laugh. And he said, "You know, you ought to come on my show." And to this day, I am the only Black.
I saw that. I did see that.
That has ever been on the Jerry Brown like you started getting questions, you know, as soon as you put some, you know, you put those out there, I started getting messages. I was answering those questions, but they were coming at me. So, you know, so I say, hey, wait a minute. I know all of these answers. They're right here. I had already written the book.
Right. Exactly.
You know, I had already written a book. All I did was put my, you know, my own personal anecdotes in there about, you know, planning and preparing to move abroad. The book pretty much wrote itself, and it's called Considerations, a Guide for Moving Abroad.
Yes.
You know, and there's certain things you need to really consider or research or plan to do your planning when moving abroad. There's 10 chapters. Each chapter is a consideration. Like consider visas, consider finances, you know, consider healthcare, consider downsizing, you know.
Right. And how, before you tell, I want you to finish telling me the chapters, but like, make sure you tell us where we can find your book, how we can get to your book.
Oh, absolutely. Well, it's on Amazon. It's you can either look up Queen D. Michele, 1 L, or Considerations, a Guide for Moving Abroad.
Okay.
It would be better to look it up, you know, by my name, Queen D.
Well,
Michele.
I'm going to put everything in the description, but just, you know, people are listening and they don't go there. I'm putting everything about you in the description. So, you know, your if you have a website, a Facebook page, your name,
I have
Amazon link.
I have platforms.
Good. I'm writing some things down too.
Yeah, I got to put those in there. But that took off, and it showed me that people are open, they are listening, and they are looking. You know, they're kind of like this.
Yes.
And that led to me running into, of course, Stephanie Perry. You know, I interviewed with her, and that took off as well. From Jerry came the book, but from Stephanie came the consulting, because I've been here now 3 years. So let's talk about it, you know.
Yes.
And that's what I love. And like you, I'm meeting so many interesting people.
Yes.
From all over, just empowered, you know, wanting to land here safely, softly, you know, with power and with purpose.
Right. And guidance and help, everything. I love that. I love that. Yeah. So tell me about like, just, I guess once you got there, the whole rental, your visa situation, it was smooth because you did all your pre-researching.
I did.
Was it pretty easy from Atlanta for you to the consulate and things like that?
Exactly. The Atlanta consulate was, they say Atlanta's is one of the easiest ones. You know, you have different consulates in different states, and some are real hard and some are, you know, pretty easy. I had read where Atlanta's was, I didn't have to make an appointment, just be there, you know, when it opened. And what was fortunate for me, I went there with fingers crossed that I could get a temporal visa. And see, with a temporal, once you get that, you can renew it once or renew it for 3 years. And then after 4 years on a temporal, it automatically becomes a permanent, you know. Right. I had fingers crossed for that, because you really had to have a certain amount of money to be able to show and to get a permanente, you know, residente permanente, which offers you more, you know, you have more access to things like a citizen would. You're a resident, you know, so it's like citizen/resident kind of thing. You kind of fall in that category when it comes to healthcare and, you know, other stuff. So I really wanted that temporal. If not, I would have had to do what they call them border jumpers, you know, because they go every 6 months.
That's
You know,
right. Or
yeah,
violate
they gotta
the
make a quarter run.
expired visa.
Exactly. And I would have done it because I was going to be out regardless. I would
Right.
have. But I tell you, just again, Mother Universe opening up the day that I went for the visa to make application, the person who usually does it was on vacation.
Ah.
Yeah. So she had a temper. He said, "Oh, you're retired?" "Yes, I am." "Oh, hey, retired then."
It's like the substitute.
I was resident permanent.
I
How
love
wonderful, and that once again just shows me this was meant to be. I came forth for a time such as this.
Okay. So you got your permanente.
Yes.
Good for you.
I do.
Congratulations.
Residente permanente.
Love it.
Yes.
I'm a temporary, my husband's permanente.
Okay.
But I do think people need to understand, I'm just going to say this as a disclaimer, that every consulate is a little different, right?
Oh, yes.
We've
Let them
heard
know.
the stories. I didn't
I've
mind.
heard some nightmares.
Yeah, I've heard nightmare situations. I don't know exactly where, I can't rattle them off in terms of location, but I think Rashida, you know Rashida, right? Or kind of heard of her. Oh, freaking, I can't remember her last name.
She got the thing down the middle.
No, she actually does the Exodus Summit with Stephanie Perry.
Oh, then no, I don't think I know.
Okay, well, she lives in Mexico City, and apparently she went to Miami, which is where I went, and she had a rough experience, and I actually did not. So I don't know if they have new people, but she went recently. I went over the course of a few years because we started out in 2018, going a few different times, and each time it was like, okay, you forgot to tell me one chunk of information, right? So I had to go back. Oh, you forgot to tell me that other chunk of information. Really important things that get you that final step.
Oh, sure.
Anyway, long story short, we finally had like a relationship because they had seen us a few times in their office, and my husband's a comedian.
We had a relationship.
Yeah, we did. We had a relationship with this one guy in particular, and he remembered me even after 2 years. I was like, "Hey, remember me? Remember da." He's like, "Oh yeah," and my husband's pretty funny, so it's like, we were able to break the ice a little bit, because when we first got there, they did probably double, triple takes. Like, are you guys lost? Like, what are these Black people doing at the Mexican consulate?
Right.
I remember, the double, triple takes. Like, do you have an appointment? Or anyway, long story short, I heard from Rashida. She posted something on her page or wherever asking, did anyone else have struggles with that office in particular? And I said, I actually had a positive experience there, and I enjoyed my, years of my relationship going back and forth. And the guy kind of gave us a little bit of a break when we went this last time to get our things, but they did not offer the option for me to do the permanente, obviously, because I did not have a pension or a social security
and they
check.
looked at you guys separately, not
in
together.
My name, exactly. So they did us as a family, for my husband saying in a letter he's taking care of me and my son. They didn't care about how much I had saved. They didn't want to hear about all of that. But what was the plus is after 2 years, I can actually apply for my permanente. So instead of 4 years on my own with my kid,
okay, right.
They said, okay, you get to apply for your permanente after 2 years because your husband has a permanente. So it kind of, okay, that's fine, blah, blah, blah. Okay. And then I also, once we got here, heard from the immigration person here that kind of helped us with the paperwork, the final paperwork. It's not an attorney, just somebody like a counselor.
Okay.
She said, just this year, because I had to renew it this year in January, she said, well, we can get your son a 3-year, and then he can do blah, blah. Couldn't do that. We had to just do 1 year at a time. Then she said, well, when you apply for your permanente in January, if you get your card in time before his expires in February, you can then apply for his permanente as well. Well, a different person, different immigration attorney recently told me that that's not true. For the child, it's 4 years no matter what.
Okay.
So this is because we were talking about it. I'm just putting that out there in case someone comes
That's
across
good
this.
information though.
Yeah,
Look at
and
that.
it's changing all the time, like the amount that you needed to qualify for. I don't know if you know this, but it went up last year.
Oh, I'm sure it did.
A
From
lot.
When it go up, you know, every year. And then even I'm saying too, a lot of that, you know, when it came to visas and even healthcare, what I wrote was pre-COVID. You know,
True.
and things have changed, you
That's
know,
true.
They have changed. So due diligence is, I got to give you that skeleton that you need. Oh yeah, let me check it now. What's the requirements now? But to know that you need to have that, it's one thing, but definitely go a little bit deeper and check what are the, because what it was in 2017 when I moved is not what it is in 2021, I'm sure.
It's very different.
The criteria.
Especially the amount.
Ooh, so they went up.
That went up. It was in 2018, it was somewhere around, I want to say, let's just say 14. And it was like 14 something, like 1427, 1450 a month. US dollars that you had to earn per adult in the household or per person that was coming, blah, blah. And then the dependent was an additional, I don't even know, but it was an additional amount, maybe a third of that for the dependent that you had to show that, hey, okay, I have whatever. I never even got to how much you need in the savings because we weren't going that route. And then last year it went up, and I want to say it went up to about 2,000 per adult plus the dependent at $500. That's a lot.
That, you know what it sounds like to me, we just gonna have a lot of heading to the border in 6 months, you know.
Right. That too.
To the border in 6 months, you know.
Yeah, and you know, I do think this as well, that people can't let that like dissuade them from coming. I think what they have to do is, because I think that there are, I'm not saying this from an illegal standpoint, ways around it. I'm saying it from the standpoint of getting here and getting more information, because I do think every place gives you misinformation. And I think it's the getting here and finding out what are my other options, because there's like a local lady here that's helped a lot of expats. And I feel that her information is way more accurate because she does it for a living and it's an everyday. And she goes to like maybe the Laredo. I think they're so used to expats in Texas, just right there on the border. So she gets like more up to date and other options. And that's the thing that I think when the consulate has their setup, it's like, it's so set in just this, and this is all I know because this is what my boss told me. But I really think that people have to understand, like, every consulate, for whatever reason, is not always giving the exact, correct, accurate info. And if that person says whatever, you could be discouraged and think like, oh, this is a blanket cover of how it is everywhere.
No, do not.
I just want people to understand, like, it's not. So please be persistent. Please ask more questions, and please look at your other potential options, because I do think that that information changes from consulate to consulate. And it's unfortunate because it's annoying, but I feel like a lot of government offices, not just in Mexico, in the US in general, this is just,
you know what, it's bureaucracy, it's red tape, it's what, you know, everybody have to go through, you know, and it's different in each place, you know, it's about timing.
Right, don't give up, don't give up.
Getting the right on the right day sometimes. I mean, it's a lot of different factors that go into that.
It's a lot of this factors. Is true. I would say don't give up.
Yes. Awesome. Michelle, you are something else. You are just out there, just paving the way and showing people and directing them and encouraging them, inspiring them. You know what? Here's to you, Michelle.
Oh, here's to you, Agua. I need some wine.
Whenever you make your way here to the Lake Chapala area, you better look me up.
Oh, I will. I'm actually going to add it to my road trip list because I've been trying to do little road trips.
Michelle, it's a group, it's a, we got quite a few. We got a tribe of women here now.
I know.
Man, it's huge.
I'm on that page.
I think we might be beating some other places out for sure now.
I'm on there. I'm on there. I'm on that page. You guys let me in. Thank you. You let me in. So finish telling me really quickly about your book and your inward, onward, because I can't see the top.
You know what? After that book was written, Considerations, a Guide for Moving Abroad. Remember, I said, being here, it was led to a great deal of time of self-discovery. Moving inward. So through meditation and yoga and sacred medicine, and there's a vortex here and all those things. And then with the mountains and the lake, I'm just saying my path and purpose was to awaken, and then to help shine a light so others, jump on this bandwidth, if you will. And so that's where Traveling Home, the other book, Traveling Home Together. So I have my moving onward is like, moving abroad, but then moving inward, that's that consciousness work that I'm enjoying doing, and just being that way shower and light worker in that respect. So on Wednesdays, I have a YouTube, Moving Inward and Onward show that comes on. 1 week I'm talking about moving onward, moving abroad, and I may do a chapter out my book. Like I did last week, I did finances, chapter 2. And then like this week, tomorrow, it'll be a moving inward episode where we talk about how you need to embrace it in order to embrace it.
Right.
So
no, I love that.
I write a blog called Flowing and Growing. That's my consciousness work. My website is, the title of it is Considerations of the Soul. That's my brand, Considerations of the Soul. And so the website, of course, is www.considerationsofthesoul.com.
Okay, I got it.
There, all my publications, my blog, my audios are on there.
Your channel.
No, my you know what? I'm gonna have to. My YouTube channel is called Moving Inward and Onward.
Inward, onward, YouTube. Okay.
See, look, Moving Inward.
Okay.
And Onward.
Okay.
I can get that.
Inward and onward.
There we go.
Yes.
All right.
There
so
she
yeah,
is. Queen of the hour.
Writing. My blog is on the 1st and 15th of every month.
Okay.
And yeah, that is definitely on my website. And I do an audio to go along with the blog, so they can either listen to it or they can read it.
Love it.
In that respect. And you know what? On my website, this is really cool too. I did a year's worth of articles. So there's 12, because I did one a month. Keeping Tabs in Mexico. And there's one on hiking. I got videos. There's one when I adopted Quincy. Talk about that. It's kind of like a continuation of the book. So hiking, adopting Quincy's. When I went to Morelia and saw the butterflies, me catching the bus, how it is catching a bus locally around here. So those 12 articles are really cool. They're archived on the website too. Okay,
that's awesome. I love it. You have been active and inspiring, I'm sure, for a lot. You've just had great energy. I find it super easy to chat with you.
I tell you, that's this place, man. It does it when you nuzzle in to quality living, and then shining a light on that for others to see, blazing that trail.
Exactly. No, this is awesome. So what I'm gonna do is include all of this in the description. So,
Okay.
if people make it to the video, everything's there so they can find you online. You also do counseling as well, which I do as well for people who want to move abroad. So,
Absolutely. I do the moving abroad, and I'm also do one-on-one with my consciousness work. That's not taken off as well as the moving abroad is, but I feel in time there'll be a shift.
yeah, of course.
Then I'll start, working in that capacity as well.
Do you think you would, because I'm thinking about doing a retreat. Do you think you would do something like that?
Oh, absolutely. On my on my YouTube channel, I have all of my, contact information, and I do say available for retreats and everything. I see myself moving in that direction. So definitely keep me in mind, Michelle.
I will. And you're right here. I like your energy. I think it's contagious in a good, positive way. And, you get it. You get what I get, and the synergy is right. And so
it's palatable, isn't it?
Yes, it is. And I think that it resonates with people, and that makes a huge difference, Yeah, so it's all powerful. I'm excited. I have goosebumps, and I'm like, I want to go drive over to visit my sister friend, Michele.
Oh, you better come on down
here. I am.
So nice. I know it will. Wait till you see us, man, and how we get together. Michelle's in town, y'all. All right, so let's go bistro. All right, go bistro, and
Yes, I might have to do this trip with my girlfriend. She just got here, and she's been talking about doing a trip, and I'm thinking like, what, this might be a cool time to come over and visit. It would probably have to be in August or September, but
those are perfect months.
Yes.
Want to take a hike with me?
Oh, girl, I got my hiking shoes in the back of my car on a regular basis. I hike.
Right. Cool. We're gonna walk. Hey, we're gonna hike to the waterfall.
Yes, I can do outdoors all day long. I am not girly like that. People are like, oh, the bugs. I'm like, swap them out the way and let's keep it trucking. No, I love it. Yes, I love being outdoors. I dragged my husband and my son around last week. They're like, oh, are we taking another tour? I was like, yup. Up at 8. Come on, let's get going, get dressed. Let's go eat at Oxo.
Okay.
There was
so we can get going.
Yeah, so let's hit the road. Let's do this.
Oh, Michele. Okay, girl. That's a date then. Definitely. Come on, let's hike the mountains. That I keep talking about. I want to see them.
Yes, let's do it. I want to see the waterfall. I'm all about it.
Yes.
Thank you, my sister. I love it. Absolutely. I will make sure all your information is put here. You will send me a photo that you want me to use for my thumbnail.
Okay, I'm gonna send you a photo, and then I'm also gonna send you the details. all my links, Instagram,
everything. I'll your Amazon link for your book, everything.
Okay, so instead of messaging you that, I should send you that in the email. Do I have your email address?
I'm not sure about. It's either afroexpats@gmail, or you can send it to me on Facebook as well, Messenger. afroexpats@gmail.com.
Okay. Gotcha. Yeah. I'm gonna send an email.
Okay, perfect.
The picture and everything, I'll attach it.
Awesome.
afroexpats@gmail.com.
You got it.
Okay,
Thank
honey.
you so much. Thanks for spending this much time.
It was so nice talking to you. Likewise. When I sign off, I say my signature sign off. I say one light, and then you'll say one love. Yeah. So Michele, it's been wonderful talking to you, and as always, one light,
one love.
All right, babe. See you later.
I love it. Thank you. Bye. Take care.
Bye.